I have a report here from the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, known as CISA, and a report from the United States Elections Assistance Commission, a report of an investigation that was done dated March 31st, 2020. In these reports, it identifies anomalies that they really couldn't pinpoint. There's no way to find out for any of us that are actually going through a process to make sure that the systems are operating properly. Department of Homeland Security has designated elections as critical infrastructure. To me, this is a national security issue, because if we can have foreign actors being involved in the manufacturing or even manipulating the system. The voting machines systems in Arizona contain components that are manufactured, assembled, or tested in foreign nations such as China.
This one is a ballot marking device.
Pose a direct threat to the United States, including the unsecure components of computerized devices that can be and have been used to infiltrate, manipulate data, as discussed in that source document. Also, other source documents inside the biggest number of voting machines. It was actually highlighted on NBC News on December 19, 2019. Breaches of the computerized devices pose a threat to national security, to include the Department of Defense, general contractors, agencies, and even Fortune 100 companies. There's another source document in Bloomberg dated October 4th, 2018, called The Big Hack, How China Used a Tiny Chip to Infiltrate U.S. Companies. We just saw a hearing where Senator Ron Wyden had testified, but he also said 53% of American voters use voting machines that researchers have found have serious security flaws, including backdoor. The Tennessee Secretary of State in 2021 reported to the EAC an anomaly that was observed during the municipal election in Williamson County, Tennessee, which used Dominion tabulators for municipal elections. That anomaly caused the scanners to mislabel valid ballots as provisional and therefore did not include these ballots in the poll reports. Now, if we remember in the last couple of presentations, just because somebody submits a provisional ballot doesn't necessarily mean that that was the actual ballot that got counted. It could have been a mail-in ballot that got sent in, and so you don't really know which one got counted at all. It just shows that the person showed up to vote.
This one is a ballot marking device. So I made all of my selections through the screen. It print ballot that's printed out on off-the-shelf HP printer. This is the ballot I get out for the voter. Shows all of their selections by contest, shows the ballot style that they voted. We put it in a secrecy sleeve, walk over to, this is what's called the image cast precinct. Scans the ballot. This is similar to currently the Insight that's used in Chicago and Cook County. And then that would drop right into the ballot box. Voters done at this point. Can also handle a standard hand-marked ballot as well. Same device, there's no configuration that's necessary. Voter simply gets a ballot, marks it out, puts it right into the device. And this one's going to return to me because...
I think that's the wrong precinct.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This machine is configured for precinct 1, and we print the ballots for precinct 1 and 2. So if you feed a ballot for precinct 2, the machine is going to kick it back and it's going to tell you this ballot is not accepted in this device, like it works today in the computers.
That was the ballot box back there, by the way.
But what's really striking is when the EAC and CISA both agree that we have serious problems and flaws with the software, the election systems and software were false reporting through not just Dominion, but the EES&S, which is the election systems and software, falsely denied selling voting machines with remote access software, a fact that the ES&S later admitted was true in a letter to Senator Wyden, Democrat of Oregon.
Just to be perfectly clear, on wireless connections, it can be done with an extension cord of some sort. You said going to go through a home wiring system, even a thermostat.
Anything that connects to the circuit, absolutely anything.
Of course, there's another report by Dr. Halderman, who was commissioned by the Democrats to do a study of electronic voting machines. He did that report, was turned over to the courts in Georgia. And of course, it's under the federal judge sealed that report, so Dominion wouldn't even acknowledge that any of these fixes occurred. Bottom line is this: here's the problem when we try to ascertain that our equipment is operating properly. I mean, they say that there's no indication that CISA or the Arizona officials ever investigated whether machines, computerized voting machines in Arizona, have been exploited through these known vulnerabilities or other vulnerabilities. Well, I will stipulate to the fact that when we did the audit, the Secretary of State blocked access to us having the source code so we could actually have verified that the machines were operating properly. And even an update after an election is illegal, because everything at the election is supposed to be maintained and secure for at least 22 months federal, 24 months for our state law. Even in Cochise County, when the Board of Supervisors decided that they wanted to do a 100% hand count audit, or not an audit, 100% hand count of all their ballots, the Secretary of State's office actually interfered and threatened the county that they were possibly violating the law. But then when they were showed that they were not violating the law, all of a sudden, when they voted to go ahead, they were going to do their hand count prescribed by statute. Then all of a sudden, Cochise County gets sued by Mark Elias to tie them up in the court to stop them from doing that hand count, because the statute actually says that if county is going to do 100% hand count of all the precincts, the Secretary of State shall provide the source code to a special master that shall be appointed by the court, and shall the special master and the results of that investigation shall be turned over to the court, made public, but to the court.
Are there any circumstances where you would open your software to scrutiny by the public?
We allow what we call controlled disclosure, where members of the public come in if the jurisdiction that's using the equipment so wants that, and members can do their own source code review on it. Certain conditions, they can't take it with them, but it's pretty straightforward.
People have been put into danger. Their families have been put into danger. Their lives have been upended, and all because of lies.
Every single person at Dominion is going to end up in an orange jumpsuit in handcuffs. You whores, you cheating pigs.
Yeah, good afternoon, scumbags. We're going to blow your building up, piece of shit.
Anderson, my kids still are not allowed to get any package from the front door until we verify that it's actually from a trusted sender.
You're that concerned about somebody sending something to your house?
It's not unfounded concern.
People have done that?
People have done this. People are warning that they will continue to do this.
Why not just have paper ballots?
We do have paper ballots. What the machines do is they count those paper ballots in a way that makes it very easy for people to verify after the fact through the means of audits and recounts. A voter takes a paper ballot. They've made their marks, however they make their marks, depending on the jurisdiction. As they deposit it into the ballot box, it goes through a digital scanner and then drops into the ballot box. Not only are there paper ballots that make up the official record, those paper ballots have been hand counted and audited over 1,000 times. So how do you hack a paper ballot?
Are your machines hooked up to the internet?
No, not by any stretch. We go through a number of certifications, government certifications, and the first one is at a federal level. So those standards mandate that election systems, such as ours, are designed to work in a closed system, air-gapped, no internet.
Can you flip votes in the computer system? Can you add votes that did not exist?
Absolutely not.
Do you think that you can show not only that they lied, but they knew that they were lying?
I think that's the easiest part.
You, as a company, told them specifically, repeatedly.
We told them. We told them in real time. Others told them. Government officials told them. Partisan government officials told them. People inside the Trump administration told them. Local election officials on both sides of the aisle told them. This is not a matter of not knowing the truth. They knew the truth.
So, through lawfare, the county was prevented from doing their prescribed duties to make sure that their election was certifiable and when they would do the canvass. So they tied them up in court so they couldn't even proceed with their duties to verify, canvass, and certify the election. So they were under threat because the deadline was coming up, and they were tied up in court, so they couldn't even proceed to get the source codes because Mark Elias sued the county, and therefore the county had to certify their election under duress because they were threatened with a felony. So we need to finally fix that. If we have critical infrastructure that's being paid for by the taxpayers of Arizona, and no elected body has any oversight whatsoever to verify that the taxpayers are getting what they're paid for, that's an atrocity. It's a slap in the face to the citizens of Arizona, matter of fact, the entire American public, because elections can have very strong results that affect the entire nation. What's most importantly, this is a national security issue, that if we have our election systems that's deemed by Homeland Security as, once again, critical infrastructure, if we have no oversight whatsoever, that's a problem, and therefore we need to fix it. I think we're duty and honor bound to do that.
Senator Borrelli, I mean, I would have loved to gotten this exhibits a lot sooner to have proper time to review it. Stupid! But in the conclusion of the U.S. Elections Assistant Commission piece, it does say at the bottom, the analysis and testing of the ECOs has demonstrated that the anomaly was successfully fixed. So would that apply to the case that they're referencing in Williamson County, Tennessee, and to all elections? Or I guess I'm looking for more clarification on how.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. In the EAC handout, in the conclusion of the formal investigation, in the last paragraph, it says the analysis and testing of the ECOs has demonstrated that the anomaly was successfully fixed. So, and this is in relation to the case that you mentioned from Williamson County, Tennessee. So I guess if they're saying that the anomaly was successfully fixed, I'm looking for clarification here.
Go ahead. Madam Chair and Senator Hernandez, there's no way to prove that. That's the point. That because you need the source codes, and the source codes are heavily guarded. Matter of fact, in Arizona, the Secretary of State sits on the source codes. But going back to when we were doing the audit, we subpoenaed the source codes from the third-party vendor that Maricopa County has, hired to do this, and their attorney refused to give it to us because they said it was critical infrastructure and they couldn't give it to us. Once again, you have the company that refuses to have any kind of oversight. Once again, it's critical infrastructure. Taxpayers are paying for it, but yet there's no way for us to prove that what they're actually providing in accordance with the contract is true and valid and it's operating properly. So when we keep running into block walls on trying to get to the bottom of something, what we're saying is here, there's a black box that nobody can look into.
It seems like there is a process in place. So are we just asking now to open that door up to any number of people?
Senator Borrelli.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And Senator Sundareshan, that seems to be a problem because during the 2020 election, the machines were not even certified prior to the election. Matter of fact, this certification by the EAC, they never renewed those certifications until after the 2020 election, and therefore they were not certified prior to. So once again, there's no oversight. And yes, I'm saying here that county officials should be able to have access to those source codes, so that way they can check to make sure that everything's running properly. We delegate the authority to the counties to run the election. We don't have one state election. We have 15 county elections. And there needs to have that oversight on that local level to make sure that things are operating properly, especially when they're using taxpayer dollars to do so.
Madam Chair. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. Well, just to respond, Madam Chair, Senator Borrelli, it's our understanding that that those certifications were in place, did occur before the 2020 election. Just to clear that up.
They were not. Thank you.
I'ma keep on lying to you. Yeah. Until you think it's the truth. Yeah. Now, girl, I know you fibbing. Ooh, you know you can't help it. You know what I want.
I haven't. I can share the press release with you, but the EAC has said everything you said right now is false. Yeah. So I mean, I can share that with you. It's not too big of a document, but.
What document, Senator Mendez? Dated when and from whom?
The U.S. Elections Assistant Commission. I will forward it to you, but.
What is in 20 words or less? It's premise?
That the accusation that Borrelli said was false.
Can you read 20 words or less that negates what Senator Borrelli said?
It's in a quote. 1 second. Here it is. The analysis and testing of the engineering change orders has demonstrated that the anomaly. We've already read this. So we're telling you that what you're saying is false.
When was that dated? And read that in its entirety, please.
Even though the EAC failed to reissue the certification for Pro VNV's audit was completed in 2018 and again in early 2021 as the scheduled audit was postponed. Despite the challenges outlined above and throughout this period, this system, the Pro VNV and the SLI compliance remain in good standing with the requirements of our program and retained their accreditation.
Is that logic and accuracy testing, or what kind of testing accreditation does that refer to?
Maybe we could do with a presentation from this group instead of the other ones that we've been getting. And this is the EAC saying the labs were certified.
Well, the word certified has been learned to be a specious term in the least, and we will proceed.
I have further questions that are unrelated to this.
I'm sure. What we need to do is proceed along these bases, and Mr. Vice Chair, we have several speakers